So you might have realized popularity growth with MMA and UFC in the past 6 years, since 2012. And that is for one reason. Boxing is painfully boring. And part because of that is there's no stars. The only star that's really left in the boxing game that is still in their prime and still coming up with big fights is Floyd Mayweather, and he's the most boring boxer of all time because he tip-tap-toes to a decision every single time. He might be perfect, he might be 50-0, he might be what you call a defensive fighter, but that is not worth my $100 for a pay-per-view. And the UFC is stacked with talent, okay? Look, heavyweight, you got Daniel Cormier. You know, you have light heavyweight, you got John Jones, Alexander Gustafsson. Welterweight, we got George St. Pierre. Middleweight, we got Nate Diaz. Lightweight, we got Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Featherweight, Jose Aldo. You know, it's stacked. It's hugely stacked. Even the women's is better than men's boxing, in my opinion. And that is very sad to say. You see, after Muhammad Ali retired, people thought boxing was gonna collapse. But after that we had Larry Holmes, who dominated the 80s. Then after him, we had Mike Tyson, who dominated the 90s. Then we had guys like even in the 80s, we had middleweights. We had Thomas Hearns. We had Thomas Hearns. We had Sugar Ray Leonard. We had all these guys, and that is the reason why boxing wasn't stale. Boxing is stale now. We need a guy that can hit like Mike Tyson. We need a guy that can talk like Conor McGregor. We need a technical guy like Holyfield. We need those guys. Boxing will never get its spark back because nobody is interested in it anymore. The best young prospect is Jeff Horn, and I haven't seen him fight since he fought Manny Pacquiao. And he shouldn't have even won that fight, in my opinion. It's painfully boring. And there's little to no knockouts. Canelo is arguably the best boxer in boxing, and I'm not impressed. Almost like a movie when you have a star-studded cast. The Outsiders. Let's get that for example. You had Emilio Estevez. You had Patrick Swayze. You had Ralph Macchio. You had all these great names. Rob Lowe. You have all these great names. Tom Cruise. He showed up for maybe 10 minutes. And that's how the UFC is. Tyron Woodley is not in the public eye all the time, but he is still a great fighter. Love the kid. Dustin Poirier, another great fighter. He might lose, but he's another great fighter. Nate Diaz, not always in the limelight, but amazing fighter with a lot of heart. That is how the UFC is beating boxing. This boxing event since like 2005 has probably been Mayweather-McGregor, which is weird because that was the biggest circus in sports history maybe. I don't consider it a circus, but everybody else does. I consider it a great fight. I think Conor did amazing. I think Conor came in, he went 10 rounds. I thought he showed the world that he was a great fighter. Like, as he said after the fight, he turned Floyd Mayweather into a Mexican that night. Conor McGregor is on the trash-talking level as Muhammad Ali. He is in a realm of his own with entertainment. The fact that people that aren't even MMA fans or boxing fans or fighting fans in general know about Conor McGregor, and he's a household name in every single family. Everybody knows who Conor McGregor is, and he's not even from the United States. He's from Dublin, a place where wrestling does not exist, a place where no MMA fighters had made it successful, a place where probably the best boxer there was Mickey Ward or Peter McNeely. Both getting sparked. They showed a lot of heart, but they both got sparked a lot. So the fact that he can even be the most entertaining member and maybe fight sports history, combat sports history might be Conor McGregor. That is crazy. And what happens when boxing's biggest bitch retires? Floyd Mayweather. You know what happens after he's done tip-tap-toeing to a decision? Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather again? I certainly don't. That was the first boxing match that was the first boxing match I ever paid for. And guess what? I wanted my money back because that was a terrible fight. Conor McGregor fought better than Manny Pacquiao did when he fought Floyd Mayweather. He fought much better, much better. Pacquiao couldn't hit him because Floyd Mayweather was being a little girl, and Pacquiao wasn't trying. It didn't look like he was trying, because I'm sure he could have gotten close if he wanted to. And Floyd, he was doing what he did. He stood on those two ropes even after it was just a decision and said, "I know I won. I know I won." I had known he'd won, but I guarantee you ask 5 out of 10 people, they'll say they didn't think he won. Okay, that was a very controversial decision, and that's very confident for him to stand on the second rope. But if it would have backfired and he would have lost that fight, he would have looked like a dumbass.